Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us for another episode of GPS for Your Business. Today we're going to be talking about client satisfaction. I'm Dr. Randi Ross, and along with your coach for today's episode, Mike Nannini. Let me tell you a little bit about Mike in case you don't know him. Mike is an award-winning certified business coach. He is the owner of Focal Point Business Performance of Central New Jersey. He brings over 2 decades of executive management experience to the table. He also brings a clear, very easy to understand approach that's founded in Focal Point's proven systems. And Mike believes very strongly that systems run businesses and people run those systems. Well, without any further ado, let's bring on your coach for today's episode, Mike Nannini. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Randy. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the intro, Randy. I'd like to thank everyone for taking some time out of their busy day to watch this episode.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about, and I actually think this one's my favorite, client satisfaction, because this is where, if you're doing a great job, people will let you know either by telling you or by referring to you or by frequenting you or whatever it might be. But it's the one, the true one that takes the temperature, so to speak. So explain to me what client satisfaction is.
Well, client satisfaction is exactly that. How satisfied are your clients doing business with you? There's an old adage that people vote with their feet, meaning they will either walk into your store or your business and transact with you, or they won't. And how satisfied they are will directly tie back to how frequently and for how long they do business with you.
Yeah, and I know you once shared a statement with me that I actually wrote down because I really loved it. I thought it was a great one that I'd probably use again at some point, where you said sales revenue is the engine that drives your business and client satisfaction is the fuel. I think that's just, such a great line and really kind of a visual that makes sense to anyone that's watching this.
Yeah, client satisfaction is one of those things, Randy, that when you talk to small business owners, they know that it's important, but they don't really know how to measure it. But they just know that it's something that, they should be paying attention to it. So, sometimes folks will ask, well, why a whole hour and a half or why spend so much time just on client satisfaction? And it's very, very simple. What it comes down to is what's easier. Is it easier to find a new client or keep an existing one?
That's absolutely true. And something else that I think is important, I think anyone that's in business, and it doesn't matter what business you're in and whether you're watching this in business or company applies to you or practice, or you have clients, customers, or patients, it all ties in here. So you're in the right place, rest assured. We've always heard the adage forever, the customer is always right. So talk about that a little bit when it comes to addressing this aspect of, client satisfaction.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And, it's one of those things that may very well have changed over recent years. The reality is clients have become more and more demanding. They expect more today than they ever have before. So that being said, in my opinion, they aren't always right. Look, the reality is you will never make everyone happy. It's just not possible. They say you can make some of the people happy all the time. You can make all the people happy some of the time, but you can't make all the people happy all the time. And that applies to all of our businesses as well. What's important is that you understand the things that clients like and don't like about your business and doing business with you. Keep doing the things that they like, know what they don't. And once you know, you can then figure out, hey, is this something that I want to change? Or any of these things that I want to change? Some of them may be easy to fix. Others you may decide, I don't want to do that because they're not aligned with my values, or maybe they're cost prohibitive. But what's really important is you know enough to make educated decisions about what your clients, patients, and customers are going through when they deal with your business, and deciding what you want to change or not change, and understanding what the potential risks are that go along with doing that. That's really the key to client satisfaction, and is a little bit of a different take on our customer's always right concept, because I heard that actually in a store 2 days ago. Somebody said, oh, the customer's always right. Well, yeah, not really.
And what's a good way, or I guess maybe a better way to ask this question is there a certain amount of people's experiences that we want to be evaluating that really gives us enough information to determine, again, like you said, what's something that I can change that's easy for me to work on, and maybe this isn't because it would cost too much for me to do that and it really wouldn't make any sense. Like how do we determine how many people give, and I'm not talking about the blatant things like, your staff was rude to me. I'm talking
Right.
about, some of the other not as obvious things that we're going to be looking at. How many people do you think it really takes for us to, be a part of this evaluation to really get some good information and data?
It depends. It depends on the volume that's going through your business. I don't want to say it's 20, it's 50, but you should get a good enough sample size, if you will, to where you feel comfortable that you're starting to identify some common things that are coming out, right? And really what's important is if you're not doing anything to measure client satisfaction today, start somewhere. Start to ask the people that come in and do business with you all the time. You'll see a lot of times in restaurants, they'll have survey cards that you can fill out and leave with the waiter or the waitress. More and more places that you do business with now ask for your email address and they'll send you a survey. Virtually all online retailers do that. So start somewhere, and helping. I can help you figure out where the right place is to start, what the best way is to gather that data. Client satisfaction surveys are an interesting animal, and they're like any survey. You can create them so that you get good responses, or you can create them so that you get honest responses. I would encourage you to get honest responses, because otherwise you're just fooling yourself, and it's just a complete waste of time to do it that way. But start somewhere. Have an institutionalized way that you can understand what people like about your business and what they don't, and then go from there. A lot of business owners tell me they know whether or not someone is satisfied because the clients tell them. Well, that may be true to some extent, but to me, that's a very dangerous way to measure client satisfaction. A recent study showed that for every person that told you that they were unsatisfied, there's another 24. That's 24 more people that aren't saying anything. So if you had 4 people, 1 person a week, come up to you last month and tell you that they had some sort of a problem, guess what? There's another 100 that had a problem as well. Some of them may be the same problem. Some of them may be different problems. But without capturing it and understanding it fully and making those decisions about, is this an investment I want to make? Is this a change I want to make? Is this aligned with what it is I'm trying to accomplish in my business? You really have no idea, and you're just guessing.
Something else that I think is kind of important, Mike, and I don't know, a lot of people would probably be uncomfortable admitting this, but do you often work with people that you find almost have trouble accepting this information when it comes honestly? You feel like your business is like your kid, and it's very personal, and you're very attached, and you feel, instead of someone sharing what I guess maybe the word would be constructive criticism, you feel criticized and go on the defensive. When you're working with someone, like, how do you teach them, to be a little bit bulletproof or thick-skinned, or not take it personal? This is a way that you can improve yourself and the quality of your service.
Yeah, and I think it's just that you have to be willing to engage in the process of doing something like this and have an open mind about, I have to improve my business in some way. We can all think that everything is wonderful, but the reality is that it's not. And no matter how much time you spend in your business, pushing the buttons, running it on a day-to-day basis, in fact, the more time you spend doing that, it's likely the less aware you are of what's going on around you. Do you ever go into a business, a very, very busy place, and see the owner just standing in the background, just watching everything? How often do you do that? That's a great way to understand exactly what your client experience is, which is different than your client, patient, customer satisfaction. But really, the satisfaction is what validates your client experience. So 2 very different things, but both of them are important nonetheless. And it'll all, look, the key to anything, changing anything, improving anything, is you have to be willing and open-minded enough to go ahead and try some new things.
And what do you, when it comes to people that have teams and staff, what are the different ways that you suggest someone evaluates the experience just for your staff or your team members? Is it different, or is that just part of the overall experience that a client or a customer is having?
Do you mean the experience of your employees as employees of your company, or the experience that your
No,
employees are delivering to your clients?
yeah, what they're delivering to your clients.
Yeah, it's the same thing, and it gets into how you're capturing it. And look, I said start somewhere. So if you're not doing anything for client satisfaction today, then just go out and ask people that you do business with. Hey, how's it going? How do you feel about when you interact with me, and what are the things that I like to use start, stop, continue. What are the things that I should start doing that I'm not doing today? What are the things that I'm doing that you would suggest that I stop doing, that you don't like? And then what are the things that I'm doing that you think that I should continue doing that are really resonating well with you? So that start, stop, continue is a very easy way to have a conversation with someone. But again, don't stack the deck in your favor. Don't go to the people that come to your business every day and that are your neighbors and that you're friends with and ask them, because again, you're just going to be fooling yourself. If you don't want the good, honest feedback to understand the opportunities, then it's probably best that you focus your time doing something else. But if you go out, you just start to ask people and go from there, what you'll get is feedback on your team. And you can even pose it if you have employees. Hey, what do you start, stop, and continue with me? Start, stop, and continue. How do you feel about the folks on my team? When you walk in, how you're greeted, how quickly they react to your needs. When you leave, what are they saying? That's the best way to do it.
Well, and I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, some of this comes with maturity in your business too. Often when someone's new or they're a little bit younger, this is a little more difficult. I mean, I always say when I was first in practice, the way I approach things like we're talking about, I would have been very uncomfortable asking someone what their experience was, because I didn't have the confidence I needed. But as I got older, I mean, I would walk outside as a new patient was leaving just to kind of walk them out, even, outside the front door, and say, hey, do you mind if I take a minute to ask you a question as you leave? It might have been construed as a little bit confrontational. I did it very nicely, but I can tell you, I got a lot of amazing feedback. Some people might feel a little uncomfortable with you right there with them. But, we corrected things right as they happened, and it really allowed us to be very successful. And I think people appreciate that you care what their experience is. So if you can talk about that some people think that, people don't want to take the time, or they feel it's intrusive or something like that. But I think more people would be happy that you care about what their experience is.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the reality is the best way to do this is to capture the information anonymously. And that may or may not be possible for some of us based on the type of business that we have and the type of interactions that we have with clients. But again, it gets back to starting somewhere. And Randy, to your point, confidence is key. And just sort of extending that olive branch to the people that do business with you and saying, hey, how do you feel about the experience that we're delivering? Is it working for you? What are the types of things that we can do to improve it? Those types of conversations go a long way. And I would also flip a little bit of what you said about when you start early. If you have issues in your client experience, or you have things in your business that can be improved, I would argue that the sooner you know about them, the better. So try to find it inside of you to get over that confidence hump, and just start to ask people, regardless of the maturity level and the length of business and how successful you are.
Oh, I wasn't saying that people shouldn't do it. I was just saying,
Right.
I think they probably find it really difficult until you reach a certain maturity level.
Yep, agreed.
All right. Well, Mike, we have up here on the screen for those of you that are with us, just some bullet points. You can tell me if I left off anything important, or if you have any closing thoughts as we talk about what I think is one of the most important things, when it comes to any business that you're in, are the people that you serve happy?
Yep, absolutely. Again, it's so important. And it gets back to the question that we asked at the beginning. What's easier, find a new client or keep an existing one? The best
Yeah,
way to keep your existing clients is to keep them satisfied.
We used to say in healthcare something similar. It's easier and cheaper to stay well than to get well. Same thing applies here.
Yeah.
So we also want to let you know that Mike is offering an assessment of your business for you. If you, depending upon where you're viewing this, you can click on the screen or below your screen, and you'll be driven to a page that says click here to get started. And there's a very short assessment, take you anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, but I can tell you the information that you provide will give Mike an opportunity to really give you a great insight into your business and where you can make improvements so that you can grow. I want to thank you so much for being here with us. Make sure if there's any other episodes that you've missed, that you go ahead and go back and review those. Again, this is kind of like a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces that go together to make a complete process. So make sure that you take advantage of that as well. Well, you have just watched another episode of GPS for Your Business. Client satisfaction was what we were talking about today. I'm Dr. Randi Ross, and along with your coach for today's episode, Mike Nannini, we'll see you on the next episode.